You can't make this up. I was literally in the middle of editing a video I recorded yesterday, and a huge bombshell report drops about Highguard and Wildlight Studio. The game and studio were introduced to us by Jeff Keighley at the Game Awards as a indie game, like in a small studio.
4 years ago, the principals founded a new independent studio with the hopes of pushing the shooter genre forward with a new original game. They've done it in complete secrecy, which is even more amazing because the game is very deep into development. The power of independent, self-published studios to push this medium forward is a growing and I think positive theme in our industry.
And they claim they didn't have the support of a big organization. But it turns out they blatantly lied about that. So apparently Tencent was Highguard's secret financial backer. Many people don't know who Tencent is, but they are a gigantic media company and literally one of the biggest in the world. They consistently rank in the top 20 most valuable companies globally with a market cap of 621 billion. So yeah, I'd say they had some big backing. But this is where the situation starts to get even worse. Jeff literally introduces them at the Game Awards as an independent self-published company. And at this point, the story just keeps changing and the lies are really starting to pile up. When this was first revealed, people were just confused. The entire thing was confusing. It felt like we were missing something. So people started accusing Jeff Keighley of, does he have money involved in this? He says no. And did they just pay the most money out of everyone to get that final spot? Like, did they just buy their way in? And we were told no. But that story kept changing over and over. And I'm going to lay that all out real quick. So at first, Highguard did not pay for its infamous Game Awards spot. Two sources have told me that Highguard did not have to pay for that hugely coveted spot at all. And this is Paul Tassi, very credible. He's not lying here. But sources that he trusts were telling them this and lying about it. Jeff just apparently really liked the game and wanted to throw them into the Game Awards. They didn't buy their way in, but it turns out they did pay their way in, just not for the final slot. They bought their trailer to be shown in the Game Awards, but Jeff Keighley just liked it the most out of all the trailers, so he threw it in at the end. Wait, but then apparently it wasn't about money at all. Highguard actually didn't even intend to be at the Game Awards shows. It was supposed to be a shadow drop, but Jeff Keighley had another idea for the game. That was the plan until Keighley told Wildlight he loved the game and had an idea. He wanted to highlight the free-to-play shooter from an independent studio as part of the show, according to Welch. Again, so you would think it would end there, but no, it just keeps going. Jeff Keighley is very close with Tencent, and the president of Tencent is literally on the board of the show, the Game Awards. The people who chose the final slot to be Highguard. So yeah, I'm just throwing this in at the beginning of the video because it'll probably help you understand the rest of this video even more, because when I recorded it, this information was not out yet. And the fact that they said they had a secret investor backing the company the whole time and hid the fact that it was Tencent whose president is on the board of the Game Awards, I mean, this whole thing just reeks. There was so much corruption with this game, and honestly, they got what they deserved. Because even though they played the victim card and said that people were going hard on them, it felt like people were actually taking it easy on them because they were viewed as an indie studio. People were just like, it was an indie studio who swung and missed. They got crap for missing the game and putting out a bad product, but they were still an indie studio that tried. And it turns out that Tencent, one of the biggest companies in the world, was one of the backers. So yeah, here's the rest of the video I was planning on making, where one of the developers just completely loses his mind and blames all of the players for his fault. And it honestly just makes the rest of this video even better and what I'm about to show, because this developer literally goes on this rant blaming the players for the game's failure and why it didn't work. So yeah, enjoy the rest. I'm sure by this point, a lot of you have heard about what happened with Highguard, but just to touch base on this, what happened real quickly. The developers behind Apex Legends and Titanfall, some of them left and formed their own studio that was privately funded. They made a live service game. It really was its own game mode. They were trying to break into the live service genre with their own unique take on FPS shooters. It really looked like AI. It was really like, make me a hero shooter that combines Marvel Rivals, Apex Legends, and Valorant into one game and make it a unique mode that's not out yet. That's essentially what this was. It was generic. You've probably seen this main character hero shooter multiple times. And of course, there was backlash. People were mad that it was the last spot at the Game Awards, which is kind of like the most coveted spot. That's where all the hype is. You're supposed to end the game and end the year for gaming with a high note, and they dropped the ball. The trailer did not describe what the game was in any way. Did not mention any of the core fundamentals of what multiplayer games need. Like, are there going to be battle passes? What's your plan to keep this game going for years to come? Is it going to be competitive? Is it supposed to be casual? Is there going to be ranked play? What is this game? The trailer did not do its job. not only do you have the players that are mad because, the Game Awards are usually single player focused, with many of the trailers and most hype trailers being single player games. And this was not that. So you have those people mad. You got people mad that this is the final slot, that they saved this for last. You have multiplayer fans who are mad because they don't know what this game's supposed to be. It just looks so bland and generic. And you also have the Titanfall community mad because instead of getting a third game, you get this new game that looks nothing like Titanfall from former developers, with a trailer that doesn't describe what this game even is. And to make matters worse, they go completely radio silent after the trailer. And the month in between the trailer dropping and the game releasing, they don't try to fix any of this by describing this is what our game is, this is what we're looking to accomplish. They don't do any of that. They assume you're going to play and like their game regardless. And it's an idea that is literally killing studios. The idea that you know better than the players and you know what the players like, and don't listen to them. So I just wanted to briefly go over that real quickly, and let's get into what the actual post was. Okay, so a former developer that worked there, he was the tech artist, Josh Sobel, who was one of the people who was let go when the studio began to shut down. So most of the studio is beginning to get laid off, and the website is now down. It's safe to assume after just 2 or 3 weeks, this game is 100% dead. So he begins with describing the experience leading up to this. The day leading to the Game Awards was amongst the most exciting of my life. After 2.5 years of passionately working on Highguard, we were ready to reveal it to the world. The future seemed bright. Everyone I knew who had any connection to the team or project had the same positive sentiments. He wrote, adding that unbiased internal pre-reveal feedback was quite positive, and when it was negative, it was constructive and often actionable. Now this is where things get confusing. An unbiased internal pre-reveal feedback. This is really confusing. If the feedback is coming internally, how could it possibly be unbiased? Now, I'm not sure what this exactly means, because is he saying they brought in private play testers that didn't know what they were playing? They weren't paid to arrive and play this new game early from former Titanfall developers? What exactly do they mean by unbiased? Because that's what's really confusing here. They did not do an open play test, which is honestly, it should be standard nowadays for new multiplayer games if you want to succeed. Arc Raiders, for instance, they did play tests for like years, I think, like at least 2 years leading up to the game, at least over 1 year. And Marathon, another game that's launching just next month, they did their open play test earlier last year. They got a ton of feedback, and they delayed the game and changed a lot of the fundamentals of the game to listen to that feedback. So that is just an essential step to dropping a multiplayer game right now in 2026. So immediately, unbiased internal pre-reveal feedback, I don't know what this means. But then the trailer came out and it was downhill from there. Content creators love to point out the bias in folks who give positive reviews after being flown out for an event, but ignore the fact that when their negative leaning content gets 10 times the engagement of the positive, they've got just as much incentive to lean into a disingenuous direction, whether consciously or not. And this is where you can immediately tell there is no accountability and they are not listening to the fans or the players at all. And you can just tell he does not get what the players seek and what the players want. Players are on YouTube. I would bet majority of the time they're looking up content that supports their ideas. If you see a really good game that is blowing up, right? I think this goes for any game, any genre of game. But if you see a game blowing up on YouTube or just in general, like a popular game that's just exploding, you're going to see content that's positive about the game. That's what's going to be exploding. That's what's going to perform the best. And that's because that's what the players want to hear. Players want to play games that they like. They want to watch videos that they like. They want to watch content that's made for them, that shares their same opinion, but maybe spins it in a different direction. Maybe articulates it and brings their little small idea like, ooh, there was something off about this trailer. Content creators make videos explaining all the flaws and what is wrong about this and how they can learn from other studios in the past, from their mistakes and what other studios have done correctly, and instead ignore all of that and just assume that players love negativity. It's like they really are sitting there saying that players can't think for themselves. They can't form their own opinion, which is just insane to me. The hate started immediately. In addition to dogpiling on the trailer, I personally came under fire. And let's see, I guess this is part of the radio silence. After setting my Twitter account to private, my sanity, many creators made videos and posts about me and my cowardice, amassing millions of views and inadvertently sending hundreds of angry fans into my replies. They laughed at me being proud of the game and told me to get out the McDonald's applications. All of this was very emotionally taxing. And again, I don't think players should be taking it this far when they get personal. Now, many studios will admit that all feedback is good feedback. Recently, Crimson Desert, made by Pearl Abyss, has been doing the rounds talking about their game. One of the most hyped games of this year, I would say second only to GTA 6. One of the things I've heard the PR team say is that they welcome all feedback, whether it's constructive and specific or just an emotional lash towards the game. All feedback is good feedback to these developers. There's something they can take away from this, because at the end of the day, you're making a product to sell to your fans. They're paying their money for the game. And some developers have just lost this simple idea along the way. We turned into a joke from minute one, largely due to false assumptions about $1 million ad placement, which even prominent journalists soon began to state as fact. Within minutes, it was decided the game was dead on arrival, and creators now had free rage bait content for a month. Every one of our videos on social media got downvoted to hell. Comment sections were flooded with copy and paste meme phrases such as Concord 2, Titanfall 3 died for this. And now you really begin to see where this guy is just missing the mark completely. At launch, we received over 14K review bombs from users with less than an hour of playtime. Many didn't even finish the required tutorial. If fans truly thought your game had no potential, no future whatsoever, was dead before it even launched, you wouldn't see players even trying to play the game. I didn't even try the game because I didn't like the fact that they weren't even announcing what this game was supposed to be. To me, when they went AWOL and radio silent that month after the Game Awards, when everyone had all the questions and it was a perfect opportunity to tell people what this game was before launch, not just assume players are going to like it and that you know better than the consumer, I just wasn't interested in it at all because of that. And I didn't even give it a try. I was going to let others try it out. It wasn't worth the time to me. But regardless of that, many disagreed with how I felt about it. But at launch, 22 days ago, they almost hit 100,000 players. There are so many studios that would kill to have those numbers. You can see players gave this a shot. Many studios would kill to have 100K players try their game. But you know what happened? They didn't like the game. And that's just the fact that they refuse to accept, and is why they're here in the first place. And again, this is another quote. Now the post has been deleted, so I'm literally just trying to go from website to website, trying to find the quotes from it because I read it originally. You delete his entire account, of course. He's not gonna actually face the music and face the feedback. Our independent, self-published, dev-led studio deserved better than this. We deserved the bare minimum of not having our downfall be gleefully manifested. When people go after the people personally, that's wrong. Don't recommend anyone do that just because they don't make a game you like. But when you go after the game itself, that should be welcomed. Again, I'm not sure what this studio expected. They're a self-published independent studio that hasn't made a game before. What have you guys earned? Like, what respect from the players have you earned to be the last slot of the Game Awards? No one knows what your studio is and what you're trying to make. The trailer didn't convey that, and you didn't bother to try conveying that after the trailer. And now I want to just show you the craziest part of this entire article, and it really just paints the picture of what happened here. And it's a shame he didn't realize this before posting it. These are actually quotes that were posted inside of the article. Again, the article is deleted, but I remember some of the quotes. I've in order to find it, this website did post some of the quotes from this one section, and I just looked it up again on X, and this was it. But yeah, this person commented on the post, which is now deleted. This is called an echo chamber, literally. And here are some of the quotes that he actually put inside of there that he heard from their feedback. This is lightning in a bottle. I trust this team wholeheartedly. If there's one project nobody in the industry is worried will fail, it's yours. These don't even sound real to begin with. Like, these literally just sound like his mind talking to himself. Like, these don't sound real. Anyways, this has mainstream hit written all over it. Do people really say that? Like, game developers, like, to each other, word for word? There's no way this will flop. I could play this game all day. This just shows the gap between people that don't believe their product could ever be bad and the actual players who are going to be playing their game. And it's just insane to me. This should be a lesson to live service games, especially, to really listen to your players and don't blame them. Like, seriously, consider all of the facts. Is there a chance that all of the red flags and errors you made along the way could have been your fault and not the players? Again, paid employees, paid play testers, like content creators that were flown out to test the game, that is not who was going. That is not your player base. Your player base are just the regular players who are going to be downloading your game and trying it. And you did not get their opinions on this game. I think this game was destined to fail anyways. I'm not sure what they were attempting with their raid style game, but this just was never going to work in my opinion. At the very least, they could have tried. They could have done open play tests and had a little more humility when people didn't like the game. Multiplayer games nowadays are kind of just ripped off the market if they don't succeed, which is kind of crazy to me when these games are free and built to last for years. That's the whole point. You make the game free, but it's a live service. You add to it over time, and that's how you get your money, by players returning and buying cosmetics and passes, things like that. That's like the fundamental of live service games. And it's crazy to me that you're willing to shut it down immediately because of that. You're not willing to try making it a better game. Live service games change all the time. Compare Fortnite today to Fortnite day one. Compare PUBG today to PUBG day one. Any live service game you can do this with. You know, we can compare Arc Raiders 5 years from now to day one. It's going to be a completely different game. And regardless of all the hate that their game got, 100,000 players on Steam alone tried the game. They just didn't like it. And it's a shame they can't accept that fact. And it's a shame that they did not seek true feedback from the people that are actually going to be playing their game and keeping the game alive and supporting it. It's a shame they didn't try making their spin on Titanfall. Truly. That still pisses me off. Anyways, though, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know down below what you think of this, and check out my channel if this sort of content interests you. Peace.